Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Before starting the video, please subscribe and keep watching for more details videos. Full list of 2025 Grand Slam singles champions, including Coco Gauff and Jannik. The Grand Slam season in 2025 came to an end, with Coco Gauff and Jannik being among the champions. 6 players, 2 men and 4 women, attained major singles glory in 2025. From historic scorelines to long-awaited triumphs, here is a complete breakdown of each Grand Slam singles winner in 2025. Jannik, Australian Open and Wimbledon champion. Sinner started the year in dominant fashion, defeating Alexander Zverev 6-3, 7-6-4, 6-3 to successfully defend his title at the Australian Open. The Italian also won his maiden title at Wimbledon by beating rival Carlos Alcaraz 4-6, 6-4, 6-4, 6-4 in the final. Additionally, he reached the final at the French Open and US Open. Sinner reached the title clash at all 4 majors this year, and his performances this year took his Grand Slam tally to 4. Madison Keys, Australian Open champion. 8 years after falling short in her first Grand Slam final, Madison Keys finally laid hands on a major. The American outlasted Aryna Sabalenka 6-3, 2-6, 7-5 in a gritty Australian Open final to win her maiden Grand Slam singles title. She also reached the quarterfinals at the French Open but suffered third and opening round exits at Wimbledon and the US Open, respectively. Coco Gauff, French Open champion. Gauff won her second Grand Slam singles title this year at the French Open by beating Sabalenka 6-7-5, 6-2, 6-4 in the final. She became the first American to win the clay court major since Serena Williams in 2015. Gauff reached the quarterfinals at the Australian Open, but suffered a disappointing first-round exit at Wimbledon. At the US Open, she reached the 4th round before losing to eventual semi-finalist Naomi Osaka. Carlos Alcaraz, French Open and US Open champion. For the second successive year, Alcaraz won 2 Grand Slam singles titles, reaching the final in 3 of the 4 majors. The Spaniard produced a comeback for the ages in the French Open final, saving 3 championship points before beating Sinner 4-6, 6-7-4, 6-4, 7-6-3, 7-6-2 in a thrilling encounter. He recently won his second title at the US Open after defeating his rival 6-2, 3-6, 6-1, 6-4 in the title clash. Alcaraz also faced Sinner in the Wimbledon final and won the first set before losing 6-4, 4-6, 4-6, 4-6. The Australian Open was the only Grand Slam where he did not reach the finals, losing 6-4, 4-6, 3-6, 4-6 to Novak Djokovic in the quarterfinals. Iga Swiatek, Wimbledon champion. Iga Swiatek entered the 2025 season having not won a single tournament since last year's French Open. After some underwhelming performances during the clay court season that saw her drop to 8th in the WTA rankings, the Pole won her maiden grass court title at Wimbledon no less, after trouncing Amanda Anisimova 6-0, 6-0 in the final. It was the first time since 1911 that a final at the grass court major ended in a double bagel. Aryna Sabalenka, US Open champion. Sabalenka reached 3 Grand Slam finals in 2025, finally laying her hands on a major title this year after beating Amanda Anisimova 6-3, 7-6-3. She previously suffered close defeats to Keys and Gauff at the Australian Open and the French Open. Sabalenka also reached the semi-finals at Wimbledon before losing to Anisimova. 2025 Grand Slam champions, a year of breakthroughs and rivalries. In tennis, each year unfolds like a novel, unpredictable, dramatic, and full of characters grasping glory on courts across the globe. The year 2025 turned into one of those unforgettable chapters. Emerging stars, emotional breakthroughs, titanic comebacks, and fierce rivalries painted a sweeping story of triumph, one that included Coco Gauff and Jannik among its brightest protagonists. Australian Open, January 12th to 26th, 2025. Men's champion, Jannik. Jannik, the cool-headed Italian, claimed his 3rd Grand Slam title and 2nd Australian Open by defeating Alexander Zverev in straight sets, 6-3, 7, 6, 7-4, 6-3. Wikipedia. The Guardian. In doing so, he became the youngest man since Jim Courier, 1993, to defend an Australian Open title, and the youngest to do so for his first major since Rafael Nadal at Roland Garros in 2006. Wikipedia. Women's champion Madison Keys. After an arduous 8-year wait, Madison Keys finally lifted her first Grand Slam trophy. She outlasted world number 1 Aryna Sabalenka in a gripping final, winning 6-3, 2-6, 7-5. Wikipedia. People.com. Her triumph featured defeating 4 top 10 seeds and setting the record for the longest gap between Grand Slam finals, eclipsing even legends like Mauresmo and Azarenka. Wikipedia. People.com. French Open, Roland Garros, May 25 to June 8, 2025. Men's champion, Carlos Alcaraz. In one of the most enduring comebacks in tennis history, Carlos Alcaraz overturned a 2-set deficit to defeat Jannik Sinner in a 5-hour and 29-minute marathon, becoming Roland Garros' longest final ever. Wikipedia. +1. Alcaraz saved 3 championship points and edged the final in a final set tiebreak, his 5th major title and 2nd French Open crown. Wikipedia. +1. Women's champion, Coco Gauff. On the women's side, Coco Gauff clinched her 2nd Grand Slam title, her first on clay, defeating world number 1 Aryna Sabalenka in the final, 6, 7-5, 6-2, 6-4. Wikipedia. PFSN. The win marked a landmark for American tennis, the first U.S. win at Roland Garros since Serena Williams in 2015. PFSN. Wikipedia. Wimbledon, Summer 2025. Men's champion, Jannik Sinner. Sinner continued his dominance, earning his maiden Wimbledon crown by defeating Carlos Alcaraz 4-6, 6-4, 6-4, 6-4. PFSN. This added another major to his growing tally in 2025. Women's champion. Not explicitly reported, as your query emphasized Coco Gauff and the full list. No reliable source naming the ladies' Wimbledon 2025 winner appeared in search results. U.S. Open, August/September 2025. Men's champion, Carlos Alcaraz. In another gripping final, Alcaraz defeated defending champion Jannik Sinner 6-2, 3-6, 6-1, 6-4 to claim his 2nd U.S. Open and 6th Grand Slam singles title. Wikipedia. Reuters. The Guardian. He reclaimed the world number 1 ranking and cemented his status among the youngest players with 6 majors, matching legends like Bjorn Borg. Reuters. The Guardian. Wikipedia. Women's champion, Aryna Sabalenka. Aryna Sabalenka successfully defended her U.S. Open title, beating American Amanda Anisimova in straight sets, 6-3, 7-6. People.com. Her victory made her the first woman since Serena Williams, 2014, to secure back-to-back U.S. Open titles. People.com. Summary table. 2025 Grand Slam singles champions. Tournament men's champion, women's champion. Australian Open Jannik Sinner, Madison Keys. French Open Carlos Alcaraz, Coco Gauff. Wimbledon Jannik Sinner, info not confirmed. U.S. Open Carlos Alcaraz, Aryna Sabalenka. Narrative reflection. 2025 was a year defined by bold young ambition and resilient comebacks. On the men's side, Jannik Sinner asserted himself at both the Australian Open and Wimbledon, his poise and precision forging 2 high-pressure titles. Carlos Alcaraz, however, wrote his own legend with epic triumphs at Roland Garros and the U.S. Open, underscored by grit, mental fortitude, and spectacular rallies. For the women, Madison Keys achieved a career-defining breakthrough down under. Coco Gauff proved her mettle on clay, answering her critics with poise and heart at Roland Garros. And Aryna Sabalenka stood atop Flushing Meadows, once more in a display of consistency and power. No small feat in today's fiercely competitive women's field. Together, these champions represent a renaissance, the meeting of invincible youth, breakthrough narratives, and the timeless spirit of sport.